This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. And we have a little special evening edition show today. And while it is January 13th, the time we are recording this live, a lot of the country is embracing for a I believe they call them an Alberta Clipper. I've gotten recently into the weather guys, Max Velocity. And he gets all his views where he's like, you're not going to believe this snowstorm. And he talks about all the ice and stuff, which means that there's not a lot of bass fishing going on in a lot of the country, but there is south of the border. So if you guys have been following BTL, you know, 3 years ago, my buddy Darren, who actually is the reason I kind of got into the fishing, because when I was a very hyperactive 13-year-old, he allowed me to fish out of the back of his boat with the Assumption Bass Club because he apparently has some self-loathing tendencies. But anyway, I stayed in it. I learned it. I grew up. We're here today. And he had been talking to me for years about going down to Salto, Mexico. So I finally went down there with Pro Bass Adventures, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen. So I started talking with Josh Daniels, who kind of a passion project for him. It was him and his partners had just gotten the lodge a couple years prior to that. We're working it, and I'm like, this is awesome. Why isn't everybody down here? So we started working. I was like, dude, this would be awesome to get BTL people down here. He would be like, you have a show. I would love to have the ability to tell people that listen to your show about bass fishing, how good the bass fishing is down here. That's how the partnership was born. Went to Salto for 2 years. This year, went to Baccarac, brought 12 BTL listeners, viewers, buddies. It was a motley crew. It was a good group. Long story short, I think 7 of the guys caught PBs. I think there were 9 over 10 that were caught in our group of 12. My best 5 for the 5 days of fishing went 53 3/4. My best 5 in one day went 51 1/2, and my PB went 11. So if Josh wants to do a show, you have that. I mean, the man responsible for it. I said, yeah, come on, we can do a show, whatever you want, dude. So what's up, Josh?
What's up? Thanks for having me on, Matt.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to let's go. Is that's not a green screen behind you?
No, that's beautiful Lake Baccarac in the background. This little sunset.
That is an absolutely savage backdrop. We have had KVD on, who has had his 73 Bassmaster covers in the background. We've had Jacob Wheeler with his 19 MLF and Elite Series trophies. I will say that takes the cake as the best background we have ever had on BTL.
Happy to be in the discussion. Yeah, it's hard to beat Lake Baccarac and Lake El Salto.
Is it ever windy in the evening? Like this time of the year, is there ever an evening where you're like, boy, it's a little breezy, or is it always just perfect in the evening?
You know, there's that period early afternoon, 1 to 4 o'clock, where we typically can get an afternoon breeze, but it seems to lay down as soon as you start approaching dusk in the sunset, which is nice for the top water fishing. And
people aren't believing this. Move the camera again. Show it one more time. I know that's a pain in the butt, but yeah. See, look at there it is. That's the lake in the background. I believe
the lodge.
There's the lodge. I don't want to give anything away, but I do believe that you can see a location in the background. Is that the location where you tangled with the one that was the potential teener?
Yes. One of several big fish. There's a couple of big ones on several of these points behind me without giving too much away.
Fantastic. So I had it right. You guys, you've been the owner of Pro Bass Adventures. What is it? 5-6 years now?
A little over 3.
Little over 3, so it's only been 3. So I went down there right after you had taken it over.
Yeah, it did, and it's kind of been warp speed with reinvestments and suggestion boxes and what do you guys, clients, think we should do next to make this place the best it can be. So really aggressive pace. It's been a lot of fun, but a little tired.
in like a minute, 2 minutes, just kind of describe the business, where it is, where you guys operate, kind of what the program is for the people wanting to get down there. Because second part of the question, think you have simultaneously the best job and the toughest job in the world.
Thank you. 2 lodges, one here at Lake Baccarac, which is in a small, rural, remote town of Baccarac, 250 people here. Everyone is employed in some capacity with the fishery. So they're either in the tilapia fishing industry, which is like a commercial industry where they net at night primarily and harvest for the food markets in Mexico City, or they're involved with one of the lodges on here. There's only 3 on the water, so we're one of them. We have a second location on Lake El Salto, and this lodge at Baccarac's a little larger as far as capacity. We just finished some projects that you witnessed while you're here. We just wrapped that up. I'm proud to say new max capacity of 52. So we've expanded, added more boats to the fleet, added more rooms here, and when El Salto's ready, that's the next thing we're going to focus on. So the things people wanted. Rods, it's a pain to travel with rods, especially in Mexico, anywhere, especially good ones. So we invested in that. Work with G. Loomis and Dobbins, great variety. Tackle shops, and all the big names. Only mega bass dealer in Mexico. Kitech USA, who's actually here fishing with us now. I just heard them.
Did you say 8? They're here for 8 days?
8 days.
That's gluttonous, Josh. Gluttonous.
He's an awesome guy. He generally fishes with us at El Salto and has given Baccarac a try. And he caught like a 9, 12, or 13. Yesterday, so he's pretty excited about that. Some good fish being caught. Tackle shops, and then tack. I mean, tack on the boats. Mexico has been in the old ages, and we've been slinging double digits and giants in the boats for decades without it. But to give us a competitive advantage in the company culture of putting you in the best position for success to reach your fishing goals, that means the best rods, best amenities, and tack on the boats. So you enjoyed that while you were down. Contributed some of your.
I scoped the hell out of some Mexican bass.
Yeah, we put you on a champion with a 17-inch Garmin on it.
Yeah, I was in like 4 or 5 different boats. It all worked too. They all had them dialed in. Well, I jumped in with Matt for half a day, and Juan's more of an offshore dragger, so we free rigged and cranked and did some stuff with Matt for the half a day. Juan didn't like the graph off the front there. He kept the cover on it. He said right out there, that's where the 10-pounders are. That was his life scope.
He's the king of was Juan Aguilar Armenta, nicknamed Titorio, one of the most experienced guys on the lake. But he's just the king of offshore. You might not even.
He said he'd been here like 22 years or something like that.
15 to 30, looking for double digits. That's what he does, and he's damn good at it too. He's got a long list of loyal.
But at Baccarac there, you said you have 46 at the lodge currently right now. It's the most you've ever had?
We do, yeah. That's a new lodge record. We finished our completion of 12 additional rooms by 3 days. So we made the deadline. It's nice building in Mexico. You know, you get a blueprint and they get started the next day. It's a little different than back in the USA with permits and things like that. So we busted it up quick. Really nice new rooms, modern. And then now that we've completed the additions, the original 14 rooms on the lodge that were here when I purchased it, they're a little rustic. So we're going to give them a facelift and make them modern, like the new.
We've got a bunch of fish pictures. We've got a bunch of guys who are going to tell fish stories. I don't want to say this is the boring part, but we'll get the lodging and the amenities out of the way before we start showing giant fish.
Right.
This is exactly what it is. This is like the most well-ran. It's a tackle shop. It's literally like a tackle shop like you would walk into anywhere. These are all the rods. When you get there, you don't like even drop your stuff off. They take the stuff out for you, your employees. They walk you to the room. You drop in the room, and then you go back. It's not like a mad dash like the first year when I went to El Salto, where it's like, let's get the 4 rods without broken tips.
Yeah.
You can come. You can go. There's hundreds of rods. They were all top notch. Dobbins, G. Loomis, help me out here, Josh. Like they're all like $200 to $400 rods, all the right actions, all the right length, ton of spinning, ton of casting. You got swim bait rods, you got deep cranking rods, you got jigging rods, you got Nico rig, you got every single rod that you wanted. I think we all would agree. Like we would sit around at night and be like, geez, these are like nicer than what we use back home.
Yeah, GLXs, IMX Pros, some NRX Pluses, Dobbs Champions, some Ecstasies. We have a rule. Someone asks for it, 10 guys have thought of it. So if someone requested a certain action, I usually go back and buy a dozen and bring them down and add them. No limit on how many rods guys can use. You know, I always thought it was kind of cheesy to make guys rent rods when they get here. That's kind of the way Mexico works. And then if we're going to provide them, we have a responsibility to make sure they're well maintained and high quality stuff. So I've taught the guides the guides and staff how to repair, guides and things that happen to rods. So we try to go through them and sort them, and then have everything from popper rods to 8-foot swim bait rods to jig and worm rods, chatterbait, spinnerbait, spinning rods, minnow shaking rods.
I'm big on that. That's I think the average, I would say, everyone is like I did 3 bait casters, 2 spinning rods. You got 2 guys in the boat. They are fiberglass boats, though. That seemed perfect to me. Now I'll throw a picture up there. So that's Kevin from Canada. I'm not sure how active he is on Instagram. I asked him if he wanted to jump on, but it said like the last time he checked, it was 2 days ago. That's his PB9 there. Now he had like 11 rods, but he also brought like 3 suitcases. So he was dialed in on all the techniques. That was his PB with a 9 there. But the Baccarac thing is interesting because you have the option of like the fiberglass bass boats, and then you also, what do you call them? Tongas?
They're 19-foot ponga. They're a wood hull that's glassed in and painted. So when I bought the lodge, we had 15 of those, 1 for every room and 1 spare. And they're super stable platforms, and they have 2 pedestal seats in tandem. So they're kind of popular with guys with limited mobility, older guys, because you don't have to go down on a bench seat and stand up repeatedly like a bass boat. So older guys really like them. But the first thing I did was give them a facelift, right? We put spot lock trolling motors on the front so the guide can control it with the remote. The guide also sits in the back, so he's got a tiller motor. It's kind of cool having 2 trolling motors on a boat, because when you spot lock, you aim into the wind. And sometimes you might want to position the boat in a different way. So having 2 trolling motors, one at the front to anchor you, and then you can position and spin the back around the boat however you want. They're pretty nifty boats. They do have a 12-inch Garmin. They've got LVS 34 on a turret. So, and it's backed by the guide. So the guide can use it to see the layout. For decades, they've triangulated these humps and points in that offshore island.
Exactly where they are. If your guide goes like that, you cast right where he's going because you're about to catch one.
And it might be like you're thrown into what looks like no man's land, but sure enough, 5 seconds later, boom, you feel it hit the bottom. But this has just made them a little more accurate with that. And then if you're getting the bites, but they're small, or the bigger fish positioned differently, forward-facing sonar has just helped us be more efficient in evaluating spots, the best presentations. So as we built new rooms, we needed more boats. And I thought it would be best to contrast that with more modern approach. So we been bringing down some older Rangers, Procraft, Stratus, a couple Champions, and then rigging those up more tournament style. 16-inch Garmin or Lowrance up front, Ultrex. Most of them have a Quest, some have a regular Ultrex. Down inside imaging, lithium batteries, just what you would want back home. We do charge a little more for that because of the investment and the increased gas consumption. But I think it's a pretty reasonable upgrade package that's been really popular.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Fishing wise, what can guys expect at Baccarac? I didn't know what to expect. Let's get into this first. So this trip, the BTL trip, was originally scheduled for El Salto. El Salto hasn't had anyone bass fishing on it for 6-7 months.
Just me.
Just you. No, OL. I follow OL on Instagram. OL's been hosing them off of the bank, Josh. That's one of the top guides down there at El Salto.
It's a ringer. If we have many guides, the whole team's great. But if you had a franchise guide. Yeah,
but as far as trips, there's no one at El Salto and hasn't been for a couple months.
Nope. And the Guardia Nacional Army, who manages the region, has closed the lake, and they've said that they don't have the resources to properly patrol the area and have an adequate response time to feel comfortable having tourists in the area. So I can speculate, and I'm comfortable doing that on the show. And I don't know all this for certain, but my gut tells me that they're taking our government's posturing pretty seriously. And the last thing they would want is for anything to happen to one of us. And that's the last thing I would want. So currently, Salto's closed. We've been accepting reservations because everybody wants to be the first guy in the lake. And I've been there. I've had permission to fish it, service the boats. It's just as bananas as you would imagine.
Oh, yeah. We had guys in our group who were saying, how much? I'll pay you extra. I'll grease your boat a little. I'll fly in on a helicopter. I just want to be the first guy to make a cast in that thing.
Yes. So when it opens, and it's not just it opens, I have to feel comfortable sending my brothers, my American friends down there. I'm going to go check it out myself. And when we feel comfortable sending people there, we will. So for now, we've been accepting reservations from El Salto with full transparency that if it doesn't open, we're going to transfer you to Baccarac. We'll shuttle you from Mazatlan over. Typically, Baccarac people fly into 2 airports that are a little closer, but they're more difficult to find direct flights into. So we still have some clients that fly into Mazatlan and take the longer shuttle. We generally charge for the El Salto guys. We're not, and we transferred them over. So the nice thing is Baccarac's fishing really well. It's a big fish lake. It produces more of the 10, 11, 12, 13s, but it's a tougher lake. Being transparent, it fishes like a U.S. lake sometimes, where it's a puzzle you need to solve, and you might need to dip through your tackle box, your colors, your presentations, your timing, and solve this puzzle that's Baccarac. And if you do, there's no better lake, in my opinion, in the world, especially for fishing blind, and just being able to fish. Now that we have the sonar, it's in a whole nother league. El Salto is a much easier lake, big flats, lots of trees and structure. You can chuck and wind at the bank with glide baits, crankbaits, poppers. People of all skill levels find success there. It's not uncommon to have daily 35 to 40 pound bags across everybody on the lodge, and everybody caught them on different things. Well, Baccarac, there's big disparities. One guy got 3 10s, another guy topped that up 5. The next day he's got a 9. It's they're the 2 best trophy lakes in Mexico without a doubt. Baccarac, I described this on your other show with you, but it best described as the high rollers table. Yeah. Or if somebody calls me, I need a D or bust, it's without a doubt Baccarac. Or I'm bringing my kids. We just want to have fun and catch some fish and solid ones, regardless of skill level. Salto's a no-brainer for those.
I threw this up there. So this was a list for the week. We kept it for our BTL group that went down there, and every single person caught one over 7. I think every single person except one. No, every single person caught one over 8, maybe even. If you look at that list there, I mean, they're best for the day. So like Kevin Rogers went 8, 10, 9, 4, 7, 14, 7, 8, 7, 11. And that was just like his average. That was his best of the day. Like, we're going to have Josh on here in a second. Josh went 8-3, 9-2, 8-15, 7, 6-2. I had a pretty strong week. I went 10-3, 10-1, 11-11, 11-1, 7-4, and there's a 10-9, a 10-8, and a 10-4 that didn't make that list as well.
Didn't even make the board. Look at Chris. Look at Chris H finishing with just a bang, 10 right on the last.
Yeah, a 5, a 6-11, a 6-1, a 5-0, and then a 10 even. I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
Show right there.
That's what you're talking about, Baccarac. And the cool thing is, you come in. We'll let some of the guys talk about what an average day is. Let's start with a returning BTL guest, top 10 Madden player in the world. At one point, I don't know if he knows he's about to be on. He's chatting. He's muting it now. He's probably watching the game. Big sports guy. Rod Wynn. What's up, Rod? What game are you watching, Rod? Uh-oh. You got audio? Can you hear me? Rod can't hear me. He's got it on mute.
You guys hear it?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear, Rod?
I can't hear you guys, but yeah, I'm
here. You can't hear? Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to kick Rod out and then have him log back in with audio. Okay, let's go to Josh. Can you hear Josh?
Hey. Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. So I had this board pulled up. Josh Rhodes. First of all, Josh was the one who got his Rico stuck. I told you. Did I tell you this, Josh? Daniels? Josh got his Rico stuck, so I fished with him for 2 days. On the second morning.
Uh-huh.
Just an errant cast. We got Rod down there. We'll bring you back in a second here, Rod. Gets his Rico stuck. Errant cast. Literally, I'm not bullshitting you. He made one errant cast all on the 2 days that I was with him. It's in a shrub. So, the guides, how they are. We're going up to get it. Josh steps 1 foot out of the boat and just smokes his shin on the scope bracket.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Come to find out, he comes back in, thing gets infected, borderline leg amputation, right?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, it was close. Like, when I got home, I didn't think anything of it. I was cleaning it as best I could when I was down there. And then, 2 days after I got home, I, lifted my pant leg up at work. And, I mean, my leg was swollen and red, and it was spreading. Man. And I was like, oh, shit, I need to get to the doctor right now. I was on, strict orders if it got any worse to get right to the hospital and get liquid IV medication and everything for it. But luckily, 5 days of antibiotics, and I cleared it right up, and I'm good to go.
And as you can see, Josh had such a good time in Mexico that he decided to paint the room in the Mexican colors.
Love it.
So, Josh, you were with me. I had never been to Baccarac before either. Rod, who we'll bring in here in a second, I called him up. He hooked me up with kind of what it was like. I asked him about the whole system because he was just there a week before. Obviously, Josh is a phone call away, but Josh talks to people every single day because it's his job. And I was like, Rod hooked me up with the goods. But when me and you were headed out on that very first day, the first morning, just kind of walk guys through what your initial impressions are of what you were expecting and what it was like and what that first morning session on Baccarac was kind of like.
I mean, I really didn't know what to expect. I mean, I've seen plenty of videos, and before I went down there, I did my YouTube research on what I could for Baccarac. And I mean, I know there's giants in there. But I really had no crazy expectations, but it didn't take long to really bring it home that it is the best fishery in the world, in my opinion. I mean, that first morning session, I was throwing a Rico and you were throwing a walking bait.
Yeah, and I mean, we're heading out, and I'm like, listen, thank you guys for coming down. I know we had this set up for El Salto. I trust Josh. This place is awesome. It was a 5-hour ride because we all had our plane tickets to go into Mazatlan. He stopped and gave us burritos on the way. We're there, but I'm in the same boat. El Salto, I can be like, hey, wait till we go down this bank with a spook. Baccarac, I didn't know what to expect. So that kind of sets the stage.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we both, I think I stuck with the popper, and it didn't take long to start getting bites on the popper. And at first, nothing too crazy. I think he picked up an underspin or just a regular swim bait and started catching a few out of that buckbrush. And then, I mean, once the sun got up a little bit, it seemed and we focused around that buckbrush. I mean, we caught 5s and 6s on top water, right, Matt?
Yeah.
First morning,
you had that one in that cove where it was dead calm, and we're like, oh my god, that's out of a painting. Yeah. And it was was that a 6'11" or a 7'1" or something like that came? Was that the 8-pounder?
Nah, the 8-pounder was the next day on.
Sorry, we get all of our 8s confused, but that was a 6-something. I mean, it came 3 foot out of the water, rolled over in midair like a magazine cover, spotted your popper, and then just engulfed it. It was the wildest bite I've ever seen.
Yeah, it came fully out of the water and landed right on it and just immediately set up with it. Yeah, it was nice. And I mean, if you stuck with the popper, you're definitely getting some quality bites in the morning. But you had to stick with it. Catch a lot of short ones, smaller ones too. I really don't think I caught any small fish. It was weird to see a fish under 2 pounds. I think I may have caught one all week under 2 pounds, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It seemed all the fish there were 4 plus.
Yeah, it was nuts. What were your thoughts on the siesta in the afternoon. Because my first year, I remember guys in the van saying this on the way down. We're like, yeah, we're not doing the lunch break. And the first morning, everyone's like, dude, that lunch break is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I could have stayed out all day for sure, but go back and get a great meal and some cold drinks. Yeah, I'll do that too. Because like, I mean, you're not grinding. Like if you went out there and pretty much every day, by the time you come in, you got 30 pounds by lunch. So then you go out after, and then you're just looking for bigs to add to the bag, you know?
Yeah.
So you're ready for a break and some great food at the lodge.
Your favorite, your fish, you had a couple fish. You had that one that was an 8-11 on day 2. We swore it was like a 10 or 11. I think it was that one.
Yeah.
And you just got hosed in the girth department.
Yes. So like we're scoping.
It's like a 27-inch fish.
Yeah. And like when you're looking at them on scope, I mean, we had the grid set up and like we kind of got it down to where like, okay, you want to cast at something that takes up half the grid almost. You know how you got 5-foot grid on the Garmin? You know, a big fish is going to take up half of that 5-foot grid almost. So when you saw a blob like that, those are the ones you wanted to cast at. And I saw those fish and I caught a few of those fish. They just weren't, they were post spawners, you know, and skinny post spawners. They were still 25, 26 inches long, but they just weren't filled out like a double digit would need to be filled out.
Yeah, you could tell it's weird. That was what I wasn't used to. And Josh Daniels, you can chime in here. One of the things that I found interesting, like if you look at Josh's fish there, and then like look at that fish, and then look at that fish, is El Salto. It seems more like the fish are all kind of built similarly. Here, it seems like there's like I caught some that were like, oh my God, how are its eyes still in its head? Big low slung bellies, different colors to them. And then others, when it jumps, you're like, my God, it's a teener, and it'd be like an 8.5 or a 9. Is that common to see fish? Was that just the time of the year we were there as far as how they're built differently down there?
Fish in all 3 phases, pre-spawn, like his 8, the shorter, thicker one definitely looked like she was still holding. Actively spawning, you see a lot of followers rock it up, check out your bait, and then go right back to the same spot once they get a little ways away. And then some post-spawn fish, which are fun once they've recovered because they can have some extreme aggression. But, you know, when you see them on the screen on the Garmin, a lot of times you see the length, you know, and you know it has the potential. It's 24 inches. We'll see what she's built like. And then 24 here can go anywhere from 7 to 11, 12 pounds. I've caught 12 pounders that are 24 and a half inches. So I think as far as 100% of the fish being pre-spawn, it's early. It's a fall thing. But I've seen males guarding fry in June before. I've caught females leaking eggs as late as May. And the fisheries biologists I speak with are convinced that there's multiple spawning phases over the course of several full moons. Water never gets below 70, 72, and there's abundant bait, as you saw on the screen. It's difficult to filter through all that to find the trophy fish. And really December, that first full moon, we'll see a wave with tore up tails. And then every full moon after, it'll repeat and repeat and repeat. And I think the bulk of them probably go December to February. And then into March, April, May, there's stragglers. Now, one fisheries biologist is convinced that they recover and respawn. That some of those early ones will spawn twice. I don't know. I don't think that's the majority of them, but I think that there's just so many pig fish in this lake, and a lot of them are pelagic, that they come in waves over the course of full moons. Males will make beds, full moon, high and bright at night. They'll go up and make one, and if he can coax a female into coming over that's ready, they'll certainly oblige for sure.
Josh, had a good time. Anything else you want to add before I let you go here?
No, man, it was a great time. Can't wait to get back. Definitely coming again. And I can't suggest it enough. I mean,
Neosporin next time.
The deal.
Neosporin.
Yeah, Neosporin, hydrogen peroxide.
Here you go. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. See you.
As Josh. Dude, that was a perfect example of like I didn't know. I knew Juice. I knew John, Giovanni, Juice's buddy, like I know his son, Kevin Sullivan's son, like Kevin Sullivan would come in. He smoked him on top water. We'll bring Matt in here after we talk to Rod. He got to witness some of that stuff too. But you probably get to see like really cool bonding, like at your lake, of guys who didn't know each other, and by the end are like best friends.
One of the best parts. Yeah. In meeting people, growing the network, seeing people make friends. Some of them end up coming together in the future. They just met here and then they sync their trips in the future. Some of them go off and do other vacations together. Some of them end up hunting, because people who come here find a destination people a lot of the time that maybe do saltwater fishing and other things. So it's a cool place to make friends and share stories. And I mean, lunchtime's a blast. Dinner is too.
Who was that wild man who had been down here 32 years in a row? Like, that dude was a legend.
It might have been Spencer. There were a few guys here that week that were super regulars. Some guys have been, coming down.
He said he like keeps his clothes down here and his tackle and everything.
Yeah, we do that. We store tackle for guys, which is nice because you can make a list and just refresh every time you come. A lot of people come regular annual customers, and some even go lake to lake. So we'll transport their tackle from lake to lake for them if they want to fish El Salto next or Baccarac. So it's part of what we were building, was another bigger dedicated garage or bodega to store clients' tackle and items. So yeah, that's something that we offer to guys, and it just cuts down on the expenses of having to bring luggage all the time.
All right. You got us now, Rod?
Yes, sir.
What's up? Rod Wynn, been on BTL before, but you have been to El Salto and Baccarac as well? Did you go to
No, just
Baccarac twice?
Twice, yes. I went twice in 2025. First trip was in July, and the second trip was in November, right before Thanksgiving.
And then did you walk across the border and jump on a plane to get down there?
Yeah, so that's one thing I definitely want to touch on, because that's one of the cool things about living in Southern California. But I also just suggest that some guys probably want to try this, coming from other states, because it's really seamless, it's painless, and you have a lot more flight options and such coming from what they call CBX, which is called cross-border exchange, down in Tijuana, Mexico. So you literally park on the United States side, and then you go through the terminal. And then once you walk through the terminal, you're now in Mexico, Tijuana. You catch a flight from Tijuana, and you just hop on and you check in, and it makes it real easy. There's good parking, everything. So you go from Tijuana to Culiacan, and next thing you know, the Bass Pro Adventure team is there with the van, taking your luggage and escorting you to the van so you can make your way to the lake.
You were there, a week before? And the other thing that's crazy, Josh, is on Baccarac, the bite changes. So like when Rod was there, big underspin bite. I think that big shaky head worm free rig bite is kind of there all the time. Yeah. But is that something typical where you see the bite kind of tweak and change week to week based on the kind of conditions, Josh?
Yeah, more so than even El Salto. There's periods of time where the fish position differently at both lakes, but we joke and call Lake El Salto Lake Consistent. I think some of it has to do with the forage. There's a species in El Salto that's not in Baccarac, a cichlid, and they dominate the shallows, massive schools of them, and they get up to 1 pound, little snack size guys. So they're abundant up shallow. So there's always trophy fish up shallow. Baccarac, mornings and evenings, you can catch a big one shallow, but middle of the day, likelihood of that drops a little bit. So that's part of what, is the high rollers table, is that there is a degree of difficulty here at Baccarac, but the rewards can be absolutely out of this world if you time it right and you crack the puzzle, especially early in the trip. You dial it in one, like you're gonna pound them and come out with some great trophy fish.
Did you do like a long weekend, Rod? You did just like a 3-day jaunt down there this time, didn't you?
Yeah, I did a 3-day. On both times I did 3 days. It makes it quick and easy. I don't have to travel too far, honestly. So it makes it quick and easy to do the 3-day for me, especially with my work and travel schedule. I will say that, just like Josh was saying, Baccarac, once you figure it out, you can definitely get on them. But a lot of people think it's super easy. It's not like easy to catch the double digits, but you definitely have a better chance than anywhere else in the country, I would believe. And then once, I figured out, Tonito, who was my guy.
Oh, you were with Tonito?
Yeah, I went with Tonito for, I've been down there 6 days. I out of the 6 days, I now have 3 double digits fishing, with Tonito. One day I did not fish with Tonito. The one day I didn't fish with Tonito, I did achieve my personal best 5 fish limit for one day, which was 42.4 or something like that, which is an incredible day. Like you can break, a dirty 30 is always an achievement for guys. But when you start talking about, getting 40 pounds in one day like you did, Matt, and myself and many others, that's just amazing, man. And, it also was a pretty cool experience to go in July and also go in November, because those are the lake is 2 different bodies of water during those 2 different times. And Josh can elaborate on that, when he gets a second. But in July, the water is really, really low. It gets drawn down from all the farmers and all that stuff, and, not much rain and stuff. But in November, when I just went right prior to Thanksgiving, the water was way up. And the lake fish completely different. In July, it was a monster crankbait bite, 5XD, 6XD. It got to the point I was tired of catching 7-pounders. I'm not gonna even lie. Like, I was just like, dude, another 7? Like, come on. Like, this, I'm over this. Like, I wanted a double digit or something. But I know it sounds crazy, and I'm just being a little facetious or whatever. But it's an incredible fishery. It's not, something that, you can just pitch anything out there. You still got to know what you're doing. You still can, got to execute. But I enjoy it. I look forward to going back. And my plan for the rest of my life is to go at least 2 times a year.
I like it. If you want to watch these videos, this is just Rodwin fishing. He's got some really good videos out over his last couple times at Baccarac. Kind of goes through some of the baits and stuff that he has. Good stuff there. So. Yep.
Absolutely.
Elaborate on that too, Josh, real quick. While it was like it, you had that Kings of Baccarac, which blew up, got millions of views and things, where it was like you had like 14 teams that fished for 5 days, and the winning team had 3 fish for like 98 pounds.
Yeah, we did 3 biggest fish for the week format, daily big fish, 13 teams. Winning team's biggest 3 was 38.7. Second place 38.4. Yeah. I think third place was a 2-way tie for 37.6. And then the tiebreaker was they had a 12.9 or 12.10 kicker. So
you said a lot of cranking, power fishing, and they were actually fishing out of the Tongas without the live scope on the front. So everyone sees those weights and thinks, oh, those are guys scoping them with whatever you want to scope with. Those guys weren't casting at individual fish in that.
No, Deep Crank was king. And Jim Cordiano, a guy who caught 7 over 10 in there, 13.8, 2 12s, 11. It's just, I went out and watched him. I was fishing a little on the side, and I've never seen someone speed crank like this, like a flat out burn. And when he was exhausted, he'd just rip the rod, 2, 3 deep breaths, reel up the slack, and burn. And those giants were just stopping that thing. So speed cranking. Big paddle tail swim baits. There was a great swim bait bite on 4.5 to 7 inch. The Real Praise definitely stole the show, but they were eating the mag draft. They were eating the storm shad. They were eating the burrito as well. But that Real Prey that we shared on one of your previous shows, that tail has such an aggressive thump, and it seems to be a warmer water thing here. When the water gets below 80, it's a little more specific, but if there's hot water, get that Real Prey and hold on. There was my buddy threw a 5-inch Cinco and caught a 12-10 in the tournament, straight braid. So they were chewing a little bit. Yeah,
braid. So I like it, Rod.
It was Matt, I want to touch on something that you guys were talking about earlier, and because I get a lot of questions from guys who are interested in going. It's everyone knows Baccarac puts out fish. They know they puts out giants. Same thing with El Salto, puts out a lot of fish. But a lot of guys have a lot of logistic questions, and you guys touched on this earlier about the fact of having the rods that are there at the lodge that are accessible, that are good high level rods.
And you're kind of bougie too when it comes to your stuff. So for you to say they're good rods mean they're pretty good rods, because you ain't fishing with no junk.
No, I'm definitely not fishing with no junk. And to validate your point, on my first trip when I went down there last in July, I took my own rods. And it's an extra expense, it's an extra hassle it's an extra everything. But I wanted to catch my PB on my rods. That's just how I felt. I was like, I'm going to catch it this trip. I'm taking my own rods. So I was able to do so. I caught 2 fish over 10 on that first trip, and I was happy. So when I went back in November, I said, I'm not bothering with that. I seen the inventory that Josh had down there at the lodge. I said, that stuff is more than sufficient, what exactly what I was doing and what I was planning on doing when I was going back. So I just packed up a bunch of reels, and I took Josh's suggestion from the first trip. Rod, don't bring nothing less than 20-pound test. I'm telling you. So I definitely spooled up everything with 20-pound Sunline FC Sniper, and went down there and hooked up all my rods and just went at it. And it was an amazing trip. And I will never take my own rods again, for sure. I won't do that ever again. But it was very cool. You guys see in some of those videos, I was doing very good on the swim bait. The Z-Man Shatron was good for me this trip. That's a really good swim bait I was throwing. And the bait I was throwing on the other spin was a Cool Baits underspin with a Kitech 4.8 on there, which was very good. But
I will say
my best bait has been
of those now.
Yes. So the Mag Fatty Z has been my best bait down there.
On the free rig.
On the free rig, yes.
I get hate emails every time I use the word free rig on BTL from people that say, quit talking about the free rig.
It's funny because
just say it.
Yeah, it's funny because that's kind of like the controversy in bass fishing right now. I saw Justin from Russell Marine Products the other day talking about, what's the difference between a free rig and a Texas rig, and guys are all up in a roar. It's like, there's no difference. Well, I can kind of agree with that, but I like that the cavity of the free rig weight is a little bigger than a bullet weight cavity. So I feel like it can move, the line can move through more freely. Mm-hmm. And then once you add that Z-Man Elastex factor, that also adds another benefit because the Z-Man is going to be a more natural buoyant floating worm, and it's going to float up off the bottom a little easier. So, I'm a believer in free rig. I won't be Texas rigging, so send me some hate mail.
Hey, we'll bring Matt in here in a second. I fished with him for a morning, and he I like that was my free rig morning. I threw it exclusively with Matt, so it was interesting to see how many freaking bites that thing just gets. It's like a mix between a Texas rig and a biffle bug, biffle head. Like that's a big Tommy Biffle, Oklahoma, Fort Gibson right here. It's like I see the benefits of that. And then there's like a little bit of a Carolina rig element in there too, which I overlook. So I hate the Carolina rig. I hate the Carolina rig more than Randy Blockett hates Live Scope. We'll put it that way.
I think I can agree with that because I just hate re-rigging it. If I have it rigged up, I'm good. But once I break off, it's over.
Josh, you look like you wanted to say something.
It's just nice to free rig that you can check the fish 2 or 3 times. Being someone that guided for a long time and fished with people of various skill levels, you can get a bite and just hand him the rod and say, just reel down and swing. There's a fish on there. I've got a guide that's so good. He'll tell people how big it is. He'll be like, all right, there's a fish on here. Reel down, set the hook. It's probably 8. And he's right. You can tell by the bite. So it's a cool lure. The weight's typically not in their mouth when they take the bait. They can pull line and not feel the resistance of it. I think it gives you a lot of control and sensitivity without paying the price of checking a fish and getting in a position where you feel them and have to set the hook from an odd position. You can reel down and hit them and turn their head on the hook set, which is vital in Mexico. You really want to start the fight with the hook set moving them towards you. So great. Highly recommend.
We got to get you down on a BTL trip next year, Rod.
Absolutely. You guys got one on the books already?
I swear I didn't pay him to ask this, but we actually have 2 on the books. Very optimistic that El Salto will be up and running by December. So December 9th through 15th, which is a standard time. Josh, you can talk a little bit. If you can go back, we did this a year ago where we talked primarily about El Salto. They have nets in El Salto. That week that we're there, there's no nets. You can catch them with the nets. You can catch them without the nets. It doesn't really matter. But this is a no net week, and this is the same week that my buddy Darren's been going down to it. So there's already some spaces reserved for this, for Darren, for the guys, the old school guys from the Assumption Bass Club. But there's about 15, 20 spots open, I believe, for the El Salto trip, which is December 9th and 15th.
I got 3 guys that signed up today. So looks like you.
Oh, you already got people signing up before we even announced it?
Yeah, some guys, I don't know where it got out, so that's good. So there are some spots left. I do anticipate it'll fill. My lodge capacity is 28 at that location. Redundancy, extra boats. The cool thing about this location is they're all a bass style boat. So they've got an Ultrex, a 12-inch Garmin Live Scope Plus, and a 9 at the console with down and side imaging, and that's standard. All the boats have that. So those dates are there's the 10th through the 15th of every month and the 25th through the end of every month. There's no nets in the water at all. So they're kind of prime dates. And what the nets are is a gill net that goes maybe 10 feet deep. And we talked about this on a different podcast and I won't go too in depth, but they net tilapia and they sell them in the commercial markets, but it's a double-edged sword. There's a good thing about that. They're stocking millions of tilapia farm raised into the lake. And that's part of the reason our bass get so big. So we own the day. That the 10th through 15th, and then they do their netting the 1st through the 10th and the 15th through the 24th of each month. No nets at all, April 25th through October 1st. So that's also a good time.
And then the Baccarac trip, I was considering doing these back to back, like I talk about all the time on the show. Recently married. Didn't want to tell the wife, hey, I'm just going to travel around Mexico for 15 straight days with 2 different lakes. So we gave her a little holiday break in between there. So we're back in January 10th through 17th, 2027. Yep. This is an extra day of fishing in there.
Yeah, we looked at a Sunday to Sunday. Yep. We're probably going to have the majority of the guys come in through Mazatlan, through DFW, because it's a daily direct flight. It's a longer shuttle ride from Mazatlan, but less layovers, major hub at DFW, less of a chance of going through like Mexico City or somewhere where they will have a chance of losing their bags or missing a connection. Sundays there's also a Phoenix flight every Sunday and Thursday. That's another reason we kind of focused on Sunday. So there will be a couple different logistic options to reach the group. And we'll update on those once they post the flight schedule as we get a little closer.
That's the information on that. The link to the website that you're in the process of redoing, though, but everything's on there. Your cell phone number, your phone number for the lodge is on there as well. Do you want to give that information here? probassadventures@gmail.com.
Yes.
Phone number 425-345-8891. Just ask about the BTL trips if you're interested.
Call me, send me an email. Limited spots available. They're already starting to fill up. My phone's dinging now. I think that's somebody who wants to sign up. It's a good sign. It'll be a lot of fun. We're reserving the whole lodge for exclusively BTL folks. So I think it'll be another great.
I don't think you understand the pressure it is for me when you're like, we're reserving the whole lodge. It's like 52 people, Josh, and that's like what you do for a living.
It's easy.
But it is amazing. I don't know how many people were there when you were there, Rod, but there were like 38, 40 people for a couple nights. And Josh was like, yeah, we got 38, 40 people here. And we were like, what? Because we had like kind of some different groups. We had another group from Oklahoma that was there. There were some folks that came in, I believe, from like Nebraska or Kansas City or something like that. And we were all chatting. And then there were like the old school guys who were like, yeah, 32 years in a row. We've seen some stuff down here, with the fishing and all that. But I mean, it's cool how everyone gets along. And it doesn't, the way it's set up, I don't know how you went, it does not feel like there's anybody else there when you're there.
No, it definitely doesn't. I mean, obviously, when I went, it was not that many people. I went during a time where it was like during the holidays and people were tied up doing other things. And but I will say the Pro Bass Adventures team on site at the lodge and everybody that helps the operation makes it feel that way because they're so welcoming. They work so hard. They're so appreciative of everything that you do for them. So it's just a great experience overall. And I just wish we could build an airport like 20 minutes away, maybe.
Oh, there's an airport 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just a private airstrip.
Yeah, so that's probably what we need to think about one
premium
time.
Option.
The charter a plane or something.
No, it is a premium option. It is a premium option. There are people who have been to the lodge who have taken that option.
Yeah.
Those people got a lot more money than me.
All right, Rod, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you hanging around.
Yes,
great to see
absolutely.
you. Thanks for the hot tip. Like I said, I got $150 worth of half-ounce cool bait underspins now that I'm actually pretty pumped to use in bass fishing in America. So
yeah, that means you probably got about 10 of them then.
Exactly. I got a little box of them.
Yeah, if you spend $150, you probably got 10 because those things are
Yep.
not cheap.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much
Rodwind
for having
Fishing,
me
you
on.
can go watch his videos on it. It's a good representation of what it is. He straps the chesty on. You get to watch him cast, catch, count, and mount. So,
Yep.
see ya.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Let's bring Matt in because Matt was probably the guy who's in the boat that threw the most top waters for the week that we were there. Would you not say, Matt?
Yeah, we threw a lot of top water. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you also fish mainly with Kevin, who brought 6 tubs of chewing tobacco into the country and spent $150 on the tobacco and then was taxed $450 at the border for said tubs of tobacco, which equated to about a $3.50 per dip ratio.
Yeah, he takes some pretty big dips as well.
Yeah. Like when I say tub, like he would bring literal tubs of
like 12 ounces each or something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah, it's like you can't fit it in your pocket. It is a jug of dip.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. Is I made this trip. I've really, it's been a bucket list thing for me to do for a while, and logistically, it's kind of tough sometimes. We've all got obligations and stuff going on, and I've got some buddies that fish and trying to talk them into going, and their schedule matching with mine. It just didn't work out, and the BTL trip was an option, and so I went down solo. I didn't know anybody, and met Kevin in the van on the way down there, and we ended up, staying together and fishing together, and we had a blast. And I got a chance, I think, to talk to everybody in the group, and you're a little kind of apprehensive, thinking about like, hey, I hope I get along with whoever I end up getting paired with, and Kevin and I got along great, and then based on all the the conversations that I had with all the other guys, I don't think there was a bad one in the bunch. I kind of walked away thinking, oh, it'd have been great no matter who I ended up paired with, but Kevin and I got along great, and I'm hearing the dates for next year, and save me a spot in El Salto, Josh. I'll send you an email when we're done here, and Kevin and I made plans to partner up again for next year. We both had a great time and both want to go back.
Heck yeah. So you talked about the top water. Do you want to announce it now, Josh, before we get into some of Matt's fish?
Perfect time. Right
Is it perfect timing? So I don't know why, but in Mexico, El Salto or Baccarac, they like small poppers. The Rio Reekers, the Poppars, that whole 9 yards. But they prefer designer poppers. And I was like, that's bullshit. They legitimately prefer designer poppers. And I've even heard this.
Number one.
I have even heard this, like, I'm buddies with Pete Robbins for a number of years. He's gone to Mexico for decades, and he would tell me, he's like, dude, I have Rio Ricos that do not have paint on them. And I'm like, oh, bring down a Poppar. I'll bring down all this. No, they freaking know what it is. They're like LA women with handbags. They have to have the fancy one, and it's the Rico. So you've even made a fancier Rico for these fish now.
Lobina Lures, great company. I live in Arizona when I'm not here. The owner, Brian Bolander, fishes with here at Baccarac. Super nice guy. We've got to be really good friends. So he and I got to talking. I was always sending him videos of like, look at this 10 that blew up on your bait. Look at this 8. Look at this, look at this kid who just caught a giant, and talked him into coming down years ago, and now they come annually. So we got to discussing the bait and everything we love about it. And then, if there were a critique, what could it be? How could we make this thing even better? And a lot of guys throw top water and braid here. I do it. But if your braid's locked down and you hook an 11 and you only have one treble in her, you might straighten it. So I've kind of evolved to being mono just for some stretch, even though wouldn't always be my first choice. Wow. So we've been experimenting with hooks that maybe have a little more integrity than the old stock hooks, but preserve the action and the float. I think we found that with an Ichikawa. So we designed some new colors specifically for these lakes. We've been testing them for about a year. And then they've got, I guess you could call them an upgraded treble in Ichikawa that just is super sharp, sticky, and doesn't let you put a little more heat on the fish before opening. It's such a delicate, finely tuned bait that you can't add much weight there, right? It's tuned to perfection, but to have a little insurance in case you don't get as many treble points into a giant as you want, I've been super pleased. So that first color, this color here is
this one.
This is the Baccarac bone. So it's got gold fuming, gold rimmed lips, red belly, the Ichikawa trebles, and a red mouth inside of there.
Dude,
and
badass. Like, how do you get this if you're not at Baccarac?
Well, we'd encourage you to come see us at one of our shows. We're going to sell them at a few expos. We'll be at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman's Expo in Portland, Oregon, and that will be in February. And then we'll be at the PCS show in Orange County, which is the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Expo, and that will be the first week of March. And we'll be at the Bassmaster Classic booth 4300, and we'll be selling them there. So currently at the shows, expos, stop by. You can buy these baits. You can also enter in a chance to win a free trip for 2 anglers to your choice of Lake Baccarac or Lake El Salto. You get to choose 4-night, 3-day stay. Everything but airfare and tips is included in that. And then we're releasing another bait too. It's the Grow Design Works manufacturer, the Flag 255 in the
that's Grady's baby.
Yeah, it's a soft glide bait. It was probably the first, and man, that thing gets some incredible reactions from trophy fish. It's so natural, fluid, and realistic. So we have our own color in that, the Pro Bass Tilapia. So those will be sold exclusively at our lodges and exclusively at the shows. Maybe in the future we'll start selling them online, but that's it for now. And stop by the booth at the Classic. We may have a meet and greet with Mr. Matt Banger. Yeah.
What's that color, Josh? You didn't
That's
send me
the Pro Bass Splash.
Okay.
Translucent. And that one's done really well once the sun's up a little bit. I like the bone in the low light. And when the sun's up, I really like something with some translucent like that, or a black is my two favorite colors once the sun's up. And the topwater bite sometimes in Mexico can last till 10, 11 o'clock, which is a treat. You know, a lot of people put it down too early in Mexico and don't realize it's an all-day thing sometimes when the conditions are right.
Matt, I saw a question of this feedback. I'm going to let you answer this. As someone said, do you work it fast?
Do I work it fast?
No. In Mexico, are you supposed to work your popper fast?
No, not at all. That was took us a little while to figure out, but yeah, it's I've never fished a popper with that cadence. You know, pop, let it sit, pop, let it.
They
sit.
don't eat it if you move it,
and they always eat it while it's stopped. You know, my partner Kevin, he kicked my butt on the popper. You know, I think he caught his biggest fish. I think it was 811 on. A popper, and he was smart. He stuck with it. I'd get impatient and change to something else, and he made me pay for it.
You caught your second biggest bass ever, didn't you? You caught like a monster out of a tube or something like that, like a freak show, one of once in a lifetime. But like the rest of your big ones were on this trip, then, like, you know, the bigger.
Yeah, correct. That's correct. I caught a 10-11 in Tennessee in 2018, and
out of a tube.
Yeah.
That's
float
cool.
tube. But yeah, I mean, I caught an 8.2 on the trip on on a free rig, and yeah, that's the biggest fish I've caught since 2018. It's the second biggest fish I've ever caught. So yeah, we had a great time. You know, caught a bunch of big bass. Weather was beautiful every day. You know, I brought a rain jacket, never took it out of my suitcase.
I know. I look every time and it says sunny, 86, 0 to 3 mile an hour winds, and it gets up to like 10 for a couple hours in the afternoon, and then it cools off in the 50s, 60s in the evening, 0% chance of rain. Still bring a rain jacket.
Yep.
It's a carbon copy every single day. I did see where they posted there was some dude wearing like the old the old football stadium poncho out there casting the other day, and I was like, my God, it rains.
It did, yeah. Very unusual outside of monsoon season, but we had a rain, and that will the first rain since really September. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed some good fishing conditions. Matt, congrats on some great fish.
Yeah, it was a great time, and I think there was some talk while we were there that, the conditions were maybe even a little bit tough by Baccarac standards, and I can't even imagine what it would be like when it's not tough, because it was the fishing was fantastic. I mean, just the lake's just loaded with big fish.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Matt?
No. I just appreciate the chance to come on, and trip was great.
Thank you for trusted BTL and coming and doing the lake switch, and trusted Josh and trusted BTL for the whole trip. I mean, like I said,
yeah, it all worked out, and I can't wait to do it again.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
All right. We got one more guy. I'm almost scared to bring him on. I think you know who it is too.
Yeah.
It is the one and only. It's dark outside. He was exploring with backgrounds. I'm glad he didn't go on that. He's a man of mystery. He's actually he's working a real job these days. He's not just tying high end hair jigs for $25 a pop. The one and only Jarrett Morrison, Juice's Jigs. Juice, thanks for jumping on. I know you are on a work trip and had to slide away from the bourbon and the cigars to talk Mexico bass fishing.
Yeah, I had to slide out of a dinner meeting. So, yeah, I'm out here in the truck. I'm in Midland, Texas. So,
you're the perfect guy. You were the only guy last year who caught a 10 at El Salto, a 10-11 at El Salto. You caught 2 10s at Baccarac.
I had 12 over 9 for the total trip this year. So,
good story. In your opinion, who is what are the main differences? El Salto, Baccarac, if you're trying to decide either which one to go to, or just kind of your opinion now that you've had a little bit of time to digest both of Josh's lodges.
El Salto, for just pure numbers of just like quality aggressive fish that just, will own you. Baccarac, if you want to go have the chance of a fish of a lifetime, that's the place to go. I've never seen so many giants on live scope in my life. It was insane this year. Like, I'm going back to Baccarac.
Yeah. Fishing wise too, during the day, one of the things that I know, and I spent a day and a half in the boat with you, and you get this at El Salto, but not the same level that I think you get it at Baccarac. Is it might be a 1% chance, it might be a 5% chance, but with the scope, even without the scope, every time you set the hook, you're legitimately on a fishery that has a legitimate population of teeners. And it was one of the first times that I fished where I'm like, okay, like we might see a 13 pounder. It's like a 1% chance, but I have a way less than 1% chance everywhere I launch my boat the rest of the time. And just that feeling alone, to me, I think holds some value in it.
100%. Like I said, it was just insane, the amount of big fish that are in that pond, for sure. It's next level.
Bait wise, run through what you think is key. You've been to both of them. You tie your own stuff. You come down. What are some of the things that you would recommend bait wise in general headed to Baccarac?
The minnow and free rig and pretty much underspin. I tied some half-ounce underspins that I caught several 7s and 8s on this trip of the hair jig underspins. Yes, there's your 11. Is that 11?
I only chose pictures for this of me holding giants with you looking at them.
I appreciate that. I mean,
look at the back. Look at that scale.
Yeah, that was the 11 right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun watching you catch all the 11s.
Yeah, well, you caught a 10-9, you caught a 10-4.
Yeah.
You caught how many over 9?
12 total for the 5 days. And
That's
I only had one day that I was under 40. The first day I had 39 pounds. After that, I was over 40 pounds every day
yeah.
by
So
myself.
all right, so we got to tell this story. Was it Kevin and Chris?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin and I don't know why it keeps doing that. Why does it keep switching? I'm not switching anything. So Kevin and Chris, does it switch on your screen there? I don't know why it's switching. Yeah. So Kevin and Chris are Canadians, went through 2 borders into the US of A and then into Mexico to catch these Mexican giants. And they've been like friends for years. They're diehard Leafs fans. And I like I said, I sent a message to Kevin. I think it's because of like the lighting. I'm just going to go like that then.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I sent a message to Kevin to come on. He didn't get back because he's, like I said, I don't think he checks Instagram a ton. But they had a very fierce rivalry as who was going to catch their personal best, because they both knew they were going to catch their PBs because they were both like 5 or 6 pounds coming down there because they're from Canada. And so they knew, but they also knew they didn't know when they were going to get back down. So basically whoever left that week with the bigger fish, potentially lifelong bragging rights.
Yeah.
And we ended up, I jumped in with Kevin, you jumped in with Chris on the final day. And I didn't realize how serious they were taking this until Kevin caught a 9 and we were fishing about 1,000 yards apart, and you're not a quiet fisherman. And so Kevin catches a 9. We're hugging. We got the picture. I think I've got it. There it is right there. PB smashed it, blew it out of the water, scoped up a 9. Couldn't have been happier. And like 40 minutes later, we hear a ruckus from Ronnie's boat and Juice and Chris, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I wasn't in the boat. You can take it from here.
Yeah, so his personal best that morning before we got on the water, I was like, "Hey man, what's your personal best?" And he goes, 6'11". I was like, "Oh man, we're about to crush that." Like, we'll and I asked him if he'd ever live scope before, and he hadn't. And so I had Ronnie take us to a starting spot that we'd fished earlier in the week that was full of like 7s and 8s and a lot of surface that were chasing bait like that morning. And so we busted his PB right off the bat after he kind of watched me live scope, and I caught probably like 6 or 7 to 8 pounders. And then he made his first cast and caught like a 7.4, I think. And he was just tickled pink. He was just pumped. And he's like, heck yeah, And I was like, okay, Ronnie, let's go catch the big ones. And so we end up out in the middle of the lake, and we were in 120 foot of water. And, I saw, we were just passing up other, like we were talking, you and Josh
just
were talking
passing
about.
Just passing up 7s.
Yeah, 7s, 8s, like pretty much. We're
peasant
like, yeah,
fish.
Pretty much. And and he's like, should I cast? I'm like, no, just trust me. Like I'll line you up whenever we get get in position. And I saw this giant Easter egg, probably about at 90 feet. And I was like, he's need a scope. So I was like, let me get you a little bit closer. I'll get you as close as I can. And he makes the cast at like 60 feet and hooks up with a 10 even. And we land the fish. He's
did you know that they were in a fierce competition, him and Kevin?
Oh yeah. Like he was talking crap the whole entire time on the lake. He's just like, I got one goal, is to beat Kevin all day. Let's do it. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And like I knew this fish was a double as soon as I saw it. So
at 10 even, you knew it was a double. You knew it wasn't an ounce under.
No, dude. It was just you know what I mean? Like you could tell it was just a freaking the right one. Yeah, and it was spawned out too, so like it was a bigger fish than probably what it was. But yeah, he lands it and he literally goes, I can't breathe. So
we'll go back to my boat
3
then.
times.
So we're like 1,000 yards away. And Kevin goes, they got a big one on over there. And you can tell, like, when a boat's got it and you're fighting, it's on a spinning rod. And so we literally are like deer in headlights, just stopped, because it's like this lake you don't expect. It's like in the mountains. And when it's glass out there, like it's like you can hear and see everything. It's gorgeous. But you hear Juice, Grande, and the Pacifico bottles rattling around down there, and Ronnie going, oh, you grabbing the net. And then you hear, oh my God. And it's in a slight Canadian accent, which really concerned Kevin. Because he's like, I think Juice has a big one. But then when he heard, oh, my God, in a Canadian accent, he was like, oh, no, that might be my buddy. So then it gets in the net. And then in another Canadian accent, you hear, oh, thank you so much. And he goes, crap. What? He goes, my buddy caught that, not Juice. And then they're like, we're not out of the woods yet. And he's like, they're yelling too much. It has to be bigger than 9. So we're waiting. And then just floating across Baccarac, you just hear Juice in his fake Mexican accent go 10-pounder like that. Just crestfallen. we busted ass so hard to try to get him a 10-1, but so they went home with a 10 and a 9 as their PBs, 9 even, 10 even.
Yeah, and Kevin when we get off the water for lunch, because that was in the morning session, and Kevin goes, man, I just want you to know I'm going to have to listen to this for the next 20 years.
Unless they come back. I have a feeling they wanted to come back. So.
For sure. I think that's going to happen for sure. So.
All right. You're the man, Juice. Thank you for hanging around. I wanted to get that story out. So.
Yeah, man. Thanks a bunch for having me. We'll talk to you guys soon.
I got to get you on CTL here in the next couple of weeks. We got some 250s to 280s, almost 3-pound crappies floating around. So.
Let's go chase them. So.
All right. See ya.
Good to see you, Jim.
All right. We're an hour and 13 minutes in. I know that you've got a lot of people to entertain up at the lodge there, 8 p.m. The fresh margaritas. What's on the menu tonight, Josh?
Ribeye.
Oh, the ribeye. Local ribeye, right?
Ribeye and shrimp skewer. Yeah. Most of the meat is local. Some of our guides actually ranch, so local good stuff.
Can we knock out a couple quick questions before I let you go and we wrap the show up?
And there's one thing I'd also like to mention as well. Maybe I'll go first. And you,
Yep.
Okay. So King of Baccarac tournament, couple spots left. You guys come down, have a chance of catching some giants. I mean, the results last June were absolutely phenomenal. Incredible action. The dates are June 14th through the 21st. And I choose that week and that time because historically there's just an abundance of big fish. Last season was incredible. Multiple teeners, 12s, 11s, 44 double digits, not including the ones I caught on the side, and my fiance did too. It was wild. So if you guys are interested in joining us, give us a shout. First place, 14K. Second place, 4K. Third place, 2K. Daily Big Fish, 2K. Prize packs from Megabass, G. Loomis, Shimano. Come down and show us what you're about. Give us a call if you're interested in joining. It's the standard lodge fee for the week, which is $2,800 for 7 nights, 6 days. Then you bring $1,600 in cash for the payouts, and
and those are out of the Pongas.
We're thinking we're going to open it up to bass boats too this year because we have the increased capacity with the new rooms and the more boats. So it's all about how many teams we get. And it's just
you and a buddy, and it's your best 3 over the 5 days. So you come down for the week. It's kind of like what we did with BTO, where you have the board and you put everyone's up on it. You just have a chance to walk away with 14K or 7K a piece.
Really big fish. We provide the Bubba scales. You got to record the fish, scales zeroed out, weigh it, almost kind of like I guess you say MLF style. And then the biggest daily fish wins a prize in money, plaques, trophies for everything. And then the 3 biggest fish for a team for the week, each guy's get to contribute 1 fish. So one guy will contribute 2, the other one. Biggest 3 fish bag, end of the week wins. Last year it took 38.7. That team ended up having a 60.11 5-fish bag. And then the second place team that weighed 38.4 for 3 actually had a 61.5 bag for their biggest 5.
That's
so
6, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Trophy hunting. We want double digits, and we welcome the teeners. I think some more will be caught. So if you guys are interested, give me a call, 425-345-8891. Email probassadventures@gmail.com. Thank you, Matt.
All right, let's knock out some quick questions so you can go hit your steak and shrimp.
Cool.
Sean, is Baccarac landlocked? Yes, it's like way down there in Mexico. Not as far down as El Salto, but it's like, I mean, you ain't hiking across the border to get there.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, it's I guess you could say Mazatlan, where we are. Mazatlan, which is where you're flying from El Salto, is the next big city north of Puerto Vallarta. So it's on the west coast of the mainland of Mexico. If you drew a line from the Baja Strip, Cabo San Lucas, straight over to the mainland, that's pretty much straight in line with Mazatlan. And El Salto's just north of that, and Baccarac's about a 5-hour drive north of that. And inland more, little higher elevation at the base of the Sierra Madre Mountains. So Baccarac's pretty remote.
Frankie would like to know, do you ever use live bait at Baccarac, or is it artificial only?
I never have. I've heard stories about old timers that have done it. I even heard stories about old timers who say they used to just drink beer and troll crankbaits down the middle of the lake. And I always thought they were full of crap. But now seeing how many giants are pelagic, they were telling the truth. They're catching double digits in the middle of the lake, trolling crankbaits. Cast nets are illegal here, so it'd be difficult to fish with live bait because how are you gonna get it? You'd have to catch your tilapia or shad in a way that doesn't use a cast net. It's a big deal. Like if they caught someone using a cast net here, there would be big consequences. So they're banned. So it's not really something you could do here. It'd just be difficult. It's not per se illegal to use the live bait. It's just how are you going to procure it in a time efficient.
You don't need live bait.
Like just,
Are you required to have a guide to fish the lake, or do people fish it normally? Also, we are fishing normal, but that's a good question.
You need a guide to safely navigate you everywhere. So, for liability reasons, we don't have anyone run the big motor, but a guide. And it's to protect the equipment and you. This is a drawdown reservoir. There's no topo maps. The water's dropping, depending on the time of year, 3 to 6 inches a day for irrigation. So what was a safe route a couple of weeks ago could have a rock sticking up now. So these guys know the lake extremely well. And with the lack of buoys that are coated that we enjoy in the United States to help us navigate new fisheries safely, if you don't have experience here, the last thing we want is an accident. Now, once you get to the spot, if you enjoy one of our premium packages with the bass boats, a lot of guys put their foot on the trolling motor, take control, and pick it apart. That's great. The guys know where the big fish are, so they're going to take you to the target dense areas, and then it's up to you how you want to utilize the technology. Don't feel obligated to use a scope if you're not into it. You don't need it to catch big fish, but you can get some additional information and see how the fish are reacting to your baits and how they're set up from the technology, which is on every boat, whether it's one of the Pongas or the bass boats. I do think if you're going to scope, the bass boats would be recommended because controlling the trolling motor head with your foot and casting is easier because on the Ponga, it's on a turret. So you could still get some good information from that, but it'd be difficult to manipulate a bait and control the angle of the transducer at the same time with the Ponga setup.
When it comes to guide, like the last critical decision you have to make, the last thing that you need to be responsible for is getting on the plane to get to Mexico, then filling out your little card that's declaring if you decided to bring over $10,000 cash or perhaps 6 jugs of chewing tobacco into the country with you. But it is Josh's job. It is Pro Bass Adventures' job. You have no decisions to make after that. When you get off of the plane, they're standing in Pro Bass Adventure jerseys. They're saying, they know what your names are. They have a list of who you are. They've got the vehicles waiting for you. They load the vehicles up. You have cold beverages in the vehicles. If you're making the long drive, you have burritos halfway through the stop. It is Pro Bass Adventures to get you from the airport to the lodge safely, just like it is in any part of the country. There are really smart things to do and things that are kind of sketchy to do. You don't want to take your brand new vehicle and truck and drive it 15 hours into Mexico to go try to drive it to Lake Baccarac. That's why you pay Pro Bass Adventures. That's why there's also 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pound fish in here and have been for decades because of the inaccessibility for the common guy to get it. If anybody could just go down there and do it, it would be like a Falcon. It would be like an Amistad back when Amistad was like that. You are paying for that to take your mind at ease, to say, there's my guy. I don't speak this language. We're getting to the lodge. We feel like we're at a resort. We're insulated from around it. You employ a ton of local people from it. You have a great time. You have no worries. You get dropped back off at the airport and you're sitting there and you're going, what the hell just happened the last 5 days? That was wild. And you can't wait to go back.
Yeah. It's all our staff we own the shuttles. We employ the drivers. Airport ground transportation's included. As long as everybody arrives on the same flights, There's a couple stipulations to do that. If we need to pick up from Mazatlan, it's a couple extra bucks for Baccarac, but the abundance of easy travel flight options from Houston, from Dallas, from Minneapolis, from LA, from Phoenix every day make Mazatlan a popular destination as well to reach. Baccarac, of course, for El Salto, it's just an hour and 20 minutes away from Mazatlan. So the logistics are something we're familiar with and we can guide you through. So really in our package, everything's included except for the airfare tips for the guides and staff. Bring your lures and your reels. And
you bring cash. Here's what I did. I did $50 a day for the guide. So that would been whoever I was fishing with gave him anywhere between 40 and 60. If I caught a 10, I gave him $100.
Yeah.
Just, for that day. Tonito got an extra 100 out of me because I did win the big bass, and I told him on day one I'd give him an extra hundo if I won the big bass. So I gave him that. Then you tip the staff. It's all included there. It's super easy. You kind of have it, so you do bring some cash down for that. That's how these guys make a living. It's a very good job for the guides that are down there. They take it incredibly seriously. I mean, like, one of the guys I was with, he was saying he guides 200 days a year and wants to guide like straight and wants to guide more. Yeah. Has to shut down for like the rainy season.
I have to make them take days off because they will work every day for 60, 70 days. And some of these guys are so popular that people want a specific guide and they want that guy, and they book their trip a year in advance to have a chance to fish with, let's say, Ruani, and that Tonito's another stud. And then there's the OGs, Blas Diaz and Juan Aguilar, Luis Gerardo. And I have to make the guys take days off sometimes. They feel like I'm punishing them. I'm like, dude, you worked 30, 40, 50 consecutive days. I love it. I want to work every day. It's like, no.
Yeah. One more time. That was our board for that. More information, probasadventures.com. Like, listen, I'm hard selling this. You guys sponsor BTL. No bones about it. It's not hard to get behind something like this because it truly is super cool. And the more guys I've got, this is the second year we've done a BTL trip, and every single guy has been like, I would like to book immediately for the following year. And that's what it's all about, because you put your reputation behind it. You put your brand behind it. You put your name behind it. Like, I did not realize like this was the most guys I had down there. Like, I wanted everybody to catch their PB. I wanted everybody to have their time. I wanted everybody to get along. I wanted everybody to like the food. And it, like, you make it so easy because of who you employ, how you work it, how you run it. And I think over half of the guys did catch their PB. I was one of them. I think by the time we had it done, I think 7 of the 12 guys caught it. Now, there were guys who wanted to catch 10s who didn't catch 10s. And my opinion on that is that's what makes it special when you catch a 10, when you catch a PB. It's not guaranteed. You can't pay for the guarantee. You can pay to put yourself in position, but this isn't high fence hunting. This is still fishing. It's just fishing on a badass lake.
Yeah, it's 33,000 acres. And, most guys get a crack at a big one. And most people break 8 pounds, at both lakes. That's if you fish clean and you fish hard and you listen to your guide and you have some base level of skill, that's a reasonable expectation. And some people get a 10 their first trip. Some people, it takes a few, some people get several in a day. I've seen it all. So it's a special place. It's a cool thing that I'm really grateful to be a part of. And it's been fun working together.
That's my PB right there.
Just makes you cheer for people in a new way of like really wanting people to succeed. Always want to see that in life, but I have never cheered so hard for people and tried to help them figure it out and shared the joy of them getting a PB or just reaching whatever the fishing goal was. Like, it's a really neat thing to see people checking things off their bucket list and improving even throughout a week's time. How far people come, to even being like Rod, like I'm 6 or 7 pounders, like day one, you don't feel that way, but you evolve into that by day 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to see.
I caught a legitimate 8-pounder and did not weigh it and did not take a picture and threw it back just out of principle because I wanted to say that I had caught an 8-pounder, did not take a picture, and did not weigh it.
Yep.
And then that was on the last day where the biggest one I weighed was like 7.4. And in hindsight, I wish I had weighed it because it would have looked better on the board.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I appreciate it, Josh. Like I said, you got 40 plus people at the lodge. You're sitting in the back right now. Thank you very much. Looking forward to these trips. And like, you got any other openings in the time of the year you need someone to slide in, fill a spot or something, like you got my cell phone number. Just
I've got a couple in mind. I'll reach out shortly, and I'll see you at the Classic. That's not too far away.
I'll be at the Classic. If you are going to be at the Classic at Knoxville, I know a bunch of guys last year. Was it in Texas last year?
Yes, Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. We're around. I talked to a bunch of people there. We'll have times out. I'll have it on my social media, Pro Bass Adventures on Facebook, on Instagram. They do a great job of updating who's down there, what they're doing, how much they're catching, the baits that are actually working. ProBassAdventures.com. Get in touch with Josh. He's really good at answering questions. I don't know if you've ever slept like you're up at 3 a.m. because we're up at 5 a.m. You're always on the computer. You're always on the computer when we go to bed after all the margaritas. So
it's fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
You need some more assistance.
I'm working on it. We'll see what we put together.
There's really cool dogs. If you're a dog person, Josh actually found, I'll tell you this story. This is badass. You found a puppy in a bag.
2. Yeah.
Two puppies in a bag on the side of the river that someone had tried to drown.
For some reason, I don't know the story or how they got there. It's hard to think of a scenario in which that would be even something someone would consider, but it happened. There was like a burlap sack on the shoreline, and we were fishing, and it was like, what's that sound? What is that over there? Is there some movement? And then we went and cut the bag open. There were 2 little puppies in there. So
and now they're the most appreciative lodge dogs you have ever met in your life.
Oh yeah, they get bacon, they get steak, they get eggs.
They're like the nicest. Well, the one just sleeps. What's the one? Is it there's the tan one, and then
we call him Dingo because he looked like a dingo.
Yep, Dingo. You will walk. You could do whatever. He will not move out of the way, but he will open his eye and follow you with his eye just to make sure you're not going to step on him.
Yeah. They just want love. They're good boys. And then Oreo's the black and white one. He was a tiny puppy. I was worried about him, but he made it too. So they lived at the ramp down where we launched the boats for the first season when we found them, and we just bring food down. Well, then the lodges kind of slow down for monsoon season. August, we brought them up to the lodge and took care of them there. And then once the clients started coming in, we said, let's take them back down to the water. So we threw them in the van and drove them down, and they just ran the mile right back up to the lodge. So they're permanent residents of the lodge. They will escort the van to the water every morning, though. One of them's got a little herding dog in him. He runs with the van down and back every trip. So they're cute. I love them. They're good pups. And
very sweet. And if you have any questions behind that, I answer a lot of questions about this because it is something that unless you know someone who's done it and has done it, that's the same reason I didn't come down here for the first 30 years that I bass fish. But you can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Matt Pangrac, or you can email me, matt@basszone.com.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
There you go. That was Josh Daniels. I'm very jealous of him knowing where he's at, literally 500 yards behind him. It's it's probably like a half mile, 3/4 of a mile. You kind of wind down to get to where the boats and the guys are. But it's you literally look out and you're looking at a section of the lake that there are multiple 12 to 15 pound bass in, which is something that you don't get to do very often. So, all right, we're going to go commercial free on this show. We're going to wrap things up. I've been trying the new music. I kind of like the new music. I think most people kind of like the new music. Tomorrow, Scott Palmer is in studio. It'll be a good show. He's got some cool new technology that he's going to talk about. And like I said, probassadventures.com. I'll throw this up really quick there. That's the trip, December 9th through 15th to El Salto. And you can't say guarantee on anything. It's like a guarantee 35 pounds a day. Catch a lot on top. Glide. You can catch however you want to on El Salto. You can do whatever you want. Like just the density of 6 to 8 pound fish is ridiculous. And then Baccarac, January 10th through 17th. Maybe a little bit more scope heavy if you want. You don't have to. I mean, there's guys who catch 10s all the time without scope down there, but potential for mega freak. I think we didn't even get into this. I think El Salto, in my opinion, is about to pop off. There's a couple of year classes of fish that like 3 years ago were like 5s and 6s, and then 2 years ago were 6s and 7s, and then the last year, so a year ago when we went, we caught like a ton of 7 to 8.5s. And then this year we were like, oh my God, those are going to be like 8 and 9s and 10s. So then next year when we go, it could just be like dozens of 9 to 11 pounders. All right, this has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. We'll talk to everyone later. See ya.